Welcome back. Yeah, man, happy Friday. But for real, happy Friday. I don't know about y'all, but it's been a hell of a week. It's been a long week. It's been a felt like it was like a week and a half, in a week. It's been long, but welcome to the Will Is podcast. We survived. We are here. We are live. We are showing up fresh for sure. But check this out, man. Show tonight is called Self-Imposing Show. The consultation of who? You already know, yeah, the consultation of who. See, a lot of times, because yeah, you already know how I like to jump right into shit without us, you know, wasting time because time is important. You guys take so much time, you take time out to tune in. You take time out to subscribe. You take time out to like, share. You take time out to have conversations and you communicate globally about, the things that come out my mouth on the Will Is podcast. For real. I'm so grateful. I am so appreciative. A lot of times, people are so unappreciative of, things that are, let's say, something. When people take time out, being appreciative of time is one thing. Being appreciative of other people's time is a whole another thing. You understand? So when a person takes time out, like you guys, like you take this time out to listen to the podcast, uh, but I'm going to teach you a valuable lesson about, people like to impose. They love to impose their, first of all, their thoughts, their opinions, their actions, anything that they feel like wanting to impose is really the imposition of self. Let me explain. Yeah, the Will is podcast. Me, Danny D, we always got to have a solution, an equation. We always going to pivot forward. And let me explain to you how to get out of them traps. Because that's all it basically are. They're just traps. They're traps that keep us, I'm missing. MJ got to be in there. But they're traps that, make us reposition ourselves to relegate ourselves. It's almost like not having the ability to govern yourself and someone wanting you to govern yourself in accordance to their ideology, their equation, how they see you, how they view you, how they equate you to a specific value. It's called a relegation. We learn these things in America because this is where you see the roots of devaluing, relegating, and basically imposing. But so, how many of us participate in the self imposing afflictions? This is the consultation of who? When you don't have the tools to consult, you should listen. Maybe when you listen, you may have a more proper, adequate understanding, deliberation, so you can deliver the proper connotations, even within your body language and how you want to explain your position. Not only just your position, your viewpoints, and if your opinions are not asked for, you should leave them out. Basically, you should lean towards basing things on actual truth and fact. They have all the leverage. See, what we have to understand is people, they lie about what truths and facts are from their inception. So the reason why President Donald Trump can pretty much write executive orders out the ass and not have to give a damn is because of two reasons. He see the fallacies on both sides and they try to make him seem crazy. But if you don't ever want to resolve things and then you have to resort to addressing situations as they actually are. Bingo. What you mean by that, Denny? Oh, what I mean by is nobody in the news really addresses the actual, factual problem. They want to argue about their positions, specifically to them. And they want to make it ship and shape it to seem like it's everybody's problem. No, it really isn't. Sorry, not in this country. Everybody has made themselves so much of a monolith. We created so much separation, and it was not done by the indigenous, like myself. You know, when you're reclassified, when you have been enslaved, when you have been destroyed, dehumanized, and all of the elements of your being were supposed to have been extracted, and you found every way to put yourself back together as a full-fledged cognitive being, full motor skills, full actual frame of reference of thought. So propaganda works a lot of ways, people. I would never sit up here and tell you that slavery didn't exist because my people were the first enslaved and they was the first to free themselves as well. Uh, my ancestors were murdered. They were murdered for their land, murdered for their existence, because they were indigenous here, and there was a lot of a great deal of cosplaying and overlaying and interceptions and intermingling of deceptions because those were the purposeful attributes that were able to be put in place at the time. You dig? So let me tell you how we start even more implementing this self-imposing that we do. That's why this is the self-imposing show. Let's be real, okay? Give me a few seconds. I gotta go take a tingless pish. Give me two. Slide off. Wash your hands. Wipe towel. You understand? We back though. All right now. Now let's get back to what we were screaming about. You know about the you know the improper. The things that we impose on ourselves that are just not articulate, adequate, or even proper. But we do these things because we don't know enough about our equations from an internal perspective. I'm gonna play some music in a minute. because I want to get a rhythm with you guys. You know what I'm saying? This is some internal shit that we really got to deal with. A lot of times, we blame our inadequacies because we impose on ourselves and we say if they are doing such, how does the math add up? Well, you have to kind of like understand things from how maybe you're not articulating. See, people don't even understand the word articulation. When you articulate, that's the term they use for, like, my daughter taught me how Barbie dolls articulate. They want to move the wrist or me, I was the same way with G.I. Joes as a kid. I wanted they used to got to have the kung fu grip and the wrist got to move and the elbows got to move and it has to have some shoulder movement and things got to, you wanted to look as close as the human as to what that assigned uh, character of that toy, that's what you want it to articulate in your brain. It's an expression. That's why they say, pictures are worth 1,000 words because they actually are. You can read so many things and then you look at even just a picture without an actual, you know, visual character, just the actual painting or a picture or something visual in a frame. When you frame it out in your head, your vision may be different from the person that's standing next to you. Completely different. Your focuses are different. You focus on different things. You see different things. Your brain even articulates a different equation because of the roots of how your settings are in yourself. That's why you self-impose on yourself by not knowing your true identity and who you are. Self-imposing. Let's take a few people for instance. You heard me talk about LeBron James. That's a person that has an extreme case of cognitive dissonance, him and his co-host and partner and teammate, Luka Doncic. You see how they went out? Because it's a shame how, like, you got ESPN and all of these different sports specialists and analysts. You can ask all my partners. I had AE and the Timberwolves hands down on the Lakers because I'm like, man, LeBron is a wash because his whole career has been a wash, if you ask me. And I'm sorry, LeBron lovers. I don't even talk about LeBron James. I don't bring him up because I think he's a swell person. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the game of basketball, if you ever equate him to the great Michael Jordan, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, ever again, come on, man. Like, I would never do a LeBron show. The Kobe show's still coming. It's just Kobe is extremely. I gotta do the Kobe show real soon. Probably gonna be the 8th of May before my child's 9th. But dig this. Let me explain something to you, the difference between a Kobe Bryant and a LeBron James. LeBron James is a legacy killer for himself, nobody else. It only shows how greatness transcends when it comes to a fundamental game of basketball, doing things from a fundamental basis. When you spend $1 million on your body to focus on how athletically you can dominate so that you can bypass the fundamentals that you should have learned at 5 and 6 years old playing this game. And if not 5 and 6, 8 and 9, 10, 11. Like you got Giannis. Giannis is still learning and playing the game using physicality to its highest levels. That's what you did, LeBron. And your physicalities are now diminishing as well as your game. That should not happen. You should have been able to evolve. You don't even have a real patented move that you can go to that's unstoppable, undefeated. And I mean, you've been playing the game 22 years, going on 23, because you want to come back and lose. But anyway, let's just say this, LeBron James. Nobody denies your physical attributes, your talents, and your physical talents, because that's all it is. It's just physical. As long as you can be a bus and can dribble the ball and and kind of make a decision and bail yourself out or make everything. You have a very extremely inflated ego that has never been checked since you got into the league, LeBron James. LeBron, you would never have ever been in your wildest dreams. You should take off 23 and wear 6 if you play another year. Just leave 23 alone, and you should never have led, I should say, led with wearing that number. It is preposterous that you can even dream from a fundamental skill set that you are in the same name vein as Michael Jeffrey Jordan. That's preposterous. It's blasphemy. It's ridiculous. It is pitiful and it's sickening. Everyone that just wants to be a hater and don't want to look at the actual numbers. LeBron James' finals outcomes are atrocious. You won four, well, let's just say 3.5, 3.75, or somewhere in between there. And it's also, let's go with LeBron James. Uh, that was the bubble. You got a lot of younger players that their motivations were down, and your thirst was high. Your thirst is always high when things are grim. You pick out the most scandalous moments to enhance your brand. I'm going to leave you alone at that because you have a wife, a beautiful wife, and children. And I will respect that, LeBron James, because I think you are good for the culture, but your time is up, over, and you are far past your stay in the NBA. And you could take your son with you, and he should be a gamer. He's already rich. He's not a Shador Sanders type of situation. So it goes to show you the hypocrisy of entertainment and sports. Sports entertainment is what it is. It's actually sports entertainment. The reason why I don't cover a whole lot of it is because America, they like to give basketball to Dr. Naismith. But if you look at the history of the Americas, I got a book. Ball games came from the Americas. Hockey was invented in Nova Scotia, but athleticism, you know, game plan, actuals, temple building. You wouldn't believe it, but I guarantee you, it comes from here. Let me move this mic for show you a moment. Let me show you some some things about this nation that we live in. Yeah, y'all know this book. I've shown you this book. Oh yeah, beautiful reference book and beautiful. Just to show. I used to do this when I was a kid. Let me show you. For sure. So, show you some more. I'm gonna I'm gonna show you some more real valuable constructs that came from the Amarucas. Okay. All right. So self-imposing is that's what the world have mostly known. Imposing. The self-imposing of wills, the self-imposing of ideologies, methodologies, the self-imposing of identities, the self-imposing of sure physical space. Yeah. See, that's what some people, those type of human behaviors are outside completely of the actual human lexicon. You know, what being an actual being really means when we are all of different origins, backgrounds. Some of us are confused of our origins and backgrounds, and some of us are just not confused of our origins and backgrounds. So therefore, I would like to say this in its totality. Be proud of who you are and where you come from, and stop imposing on others. You do enough imposing on yourself, and that's why you feel like it's necessary to position your unlikeness of yourself on others. That's an old bag ass trip that some want to take us back into the inception of it, you know. But let's be clear about a few things. Intelligence has to have a better place. Facts have to have a better position of understanding when it comes to basing truths. Now, as I said earlier, the problem with journalists on all of our networks is they place these specifics lies in place of truths because of what's agreed upon, but what has been agreed upon is now obsolete because, as I say again, lies have no roots. The reason why lies have no roots is because when you implement lies and you run with lies, you continue to tell lies. And when you have people that are even subconsciously capitulant to lies, you have a harder time ridding the lie because you're choosing a point in time that you're even still judging improperly, which makes it a lie. Facts are extremely essential because statistically, you're supposed to build a civilization based on the factual equations. But if you look at America, as I say again, an overlay society is not necessarily practicing civilization. That's when you get an oligarchy, and that's when you get a dictatorship. That's when you get these different equations because you want to be comfortable and make others uncomfortable because you look at things as a race to prosperity, a race to a finish line that's not real. Life can be lived without destroying other cultures. Life can be lived thoroughly because everybody doesn't want to thrive on the things that you want them to thrive and want them to want. Let's be clear. The reason why those equations will never be all the way appropriated because everybody is starting to understand not how to buy into the lie. So when you buy into a lie, you make yourself so vulnerable when you put so much faith, trust, and and all of your cards on those specific atrocious lies, tales, and add-ons that should never have. If there was ever a solid moral and fabric, moral within the fabric of this country. The moral is not in the fabric of this country, it's in the fabric of the indigenous people of this country. Big difference. A dominant society that on purpose became dominant because it wanted the goods of the indigenous. That story has been played out on the world stage a multitude of times, and I think the indigenous of the world are tired of being perpetuated and walked down upon by said name ruling class of people, some but not all. Some people in the dominant society don't even understand the reason or reasoning behind these are delicious. Being and a person of the dominant society that wants to integrate, but you can't integrate and want to be the focal point. You want to be in charge. You want to run the show. You want to be wrong and still have the ability to keep everything you got going on because you don't see the error in your ways. That's what affluenza is, and it's becoming more prevalent in a Western philosophical mind state. Well, I'm going to end this show on this because I'm going to come back for a good show tomorrow. The Western philosophical mind state is only abrasion, a fabrication. Nothing that it has ever produced was ever true. No kind of way, shape, or form. Um, it's an overlay because the actual Western cultures actually did exist. Can you read that? Can you read that? Let me read it for you. 19 white men who admitted there were indigenous black people in the Americas. Chase McGee. Chase McGee is the author of the critically acclaimed Voice of the Ancestors book series, which was sold thousands of copies in over 12 different countries. Due to these achievements, Chase received several accolades and awards for his work within the black community. Yet, despite Chase continues to maintain his position as a loving, caring family man who continues to dedicate his young life to the freedom and liberation of his people. That's phenomenal. So, over the last several years within the academy, there has been growing debate about the first people of the Americas and who they were. Much of the sources that this conversation has come from the grassroots of the black community who thought research, who thorough research have discovered that not only were there black people in the Americas before the slave trade, but the black people may very well be the first people of the Americas, despite the evidence that has been provided over the years to support the claim that it still seen as a very controversial topic, especially among many non black scholars and historians. Yet, as you will learn in this quick read, black people were not the only ones making these claims. In fact, Chase will highlight 19 white men did the same, admitting that there were indigenous black people in the Americas. This is going to be a hell of a read. Look at this guy. Yeah. Yes, indeed. See, again, look at this. Okay, so if we want to go a little further into this, he has pictures. I mean, he has great. Check this out. It's additional evidence. There's nothing white. There's there was another white man by the name of Louis Gores, who, roughly a decade after Langs- Langsdorff in 1816, painted these native California, San Francisco, just as Langsdorff described, which displayed unquestionably their Negro features. Let me show you, please. This is a inhabitants in Dela California, Louis Churros. Yeah, you see that now, don't you? I'm sure you do. Oh, so just to he gives the George Langsdorff, Giovanni uh, Verrazzano, Bartholomew Gosnard, James Rozier, Antonio Pigafetta, John Smith, Vasco Nunez de Balboa, William Bartram, William Simmons, Theodore Taylor Johnson, Vicente Yanez Pinzon, Carlos Quero Marquez, Constantine Samuel Rafinicchio, Dr. Nicholas Leon, Leo Weiner, Herbert Joseph Spinded, Albert Churchward, Harold Sterling, Glenwyn, Alexander Von, oh, you would know, you would now. So let me show you the names of these 19 white men in the table of contents. So when you purchase this book, you'll you can write them down, and some of y'all ain't gonna purchase shit. Y'all gonna Wikipedia, pause this, write them down, take screenshots, and we'll do that. Whatever you want to do, the wheel is yours. You understand? The wheel is yours. So yeah, this book is breaking down the everything. Check this out. Check it out, peoples. Okay, so I want y'all to also check out the great brother Kamaru Aha. He's an amazing reader. He'll read through all these. I like to show you, and specifically because I buy books. I don't show a lot of the. I don't do a lot of big videography and things of that nature, and because I like to kind of like I'm animated, so I like to show you who I am. Like I like to show you pictures out of this book like this. This is a very fragile book. Okay, let me show you. This is the Maya. This is the book of the Maya. Okay. Now I showed you the old mix, but I also got the book of the Maya. You understand? So all of these books. Let me show you the Yucatan, so that you understand. These ancient American cultures, because a lot of the times you don't get a chance to understand that America is the old world. You don't learn that enough. Nobody teaches it. They always want to give you the overlay version because they're hiding a lot. And I show you a lot. I show you a lot that they hide because I'm tired of the misplacement of actual real education, real entertainment, real, where all the ball games come from, and And you understand that was a story of the I got in the book, the Choctaw, Chickasaw, and the Natchez, talking about ball games and how the brothers, the Choctaw and the Chickasaw, they had a ball game. It was a ball game of how they made decisions. Everything went about war and warring, and even if they didn't like each other, they stayed. They kept their distance because they were brothers. The names actually derived from two actual real brothers. And that story is also relational to the Jacob and Esau story. All of these other stories. If you look at, you got Asar and you got Set. Like if you think about brothers, I don't have a brother that I grew up with my mother, but I do have and understand those physical, you know, brethren type of stories. They're real. So I'll share more about that one day, but I'm not interested in I believe in growth. I believe in understanding. I believe in people being able to develop themselves on their own time and equation. We got to give them that space and room. But at the end of the day, I don't tolerate no one, family member or a stranger. Keep your distance when it comes to people that will destructively disrespect you and treat you extremely dishonorably. Love is shown because the imposing ain't there. You dig? All that positioning and trying to, you know, get what they want out of you without providing less as possible. And that's their way of even out an equation. That is pathetic. That is shrewd, cruel, and we're starting to understand how to value ourselves better so that we can position ourselves better. I told you, you don't get the self impose on yourself. You only get to impose your will on what you need to move. Use those tools for what you need to move. Use those attributes that what you learn from not being so self-imposing and coping by being more self-inclusive without being elusive to what you already know of how you're supposed to pivot and move forward in life. That's how that goes. So the self-imposing paralyzes. Being self-imposing paralyzes you, and you will never get to the realm of the success that you seek because you have found entirely too many ways to participate in deceit. That's self-imposing. Anyway, check it out. Happy Friday. Don't be so self-imposing of negative wills. What you need to do is impose your will on your nature of how you navigate the way you move through this plane, ladies and gentlemen. So check it out. That's why we do this right here. That's why we do this. Oh, and I did promise y'all music, but yeah. It's cool. You dig? I had to take a piss. Came back. Anyway, y'all, man, y'all be good. If you're going out tonight, be safe again. Take care of yourself. Take care of the people that you're going out with. Uh, have a good time. But if you're not going out, watch a good movie. Uh, tuck it in. Don't drink too much. Make sure you sleep well. Make sure whatever you're doing, you know, you're doing it right. If you want to read a book, if you want to do some research, if you want to learn, this is a good time. It's the hey, we're going on that witching hour. So anyway, y'all be good, man. Whatever you're doing, don't get in no trouble. Trouble is terrible. You know, keep yourself positioned well. Keep yourself with a thorough mind perspective. You did. Anyway, again, that's the end of the show tonight. I am so grateful for you listening and learning and building with me because that self-imposing shit is played the hell out. Okay? Gotta move different. Gotta move properly. So, I want y'all to say this with me. You know how I go. You know how I go. The will is yours. Y'all take care. Be safe. I'll see you tomorrow, but keep liking, sharing, and loving the show. I will see you soon, but right now I gotta go.